Hello, friends. It's Whitney Witch. I have started a brand new YouTube channel, and it's going to be an interesting space for lots of queer things and art and music and other things that I find important or I feel like I could make a video about. So I just wanted to say hi and welcome. So we are going to kind of start things off with a Pride video. I've seen a lot of people on social media posting like coming out things, which has been super exciting, or just other things in regards to like what Pride is, why it's important, why we're taking the time to celebrate or acknowledge it. So I kind of wanted to do a little bit of that also, and just use this video as kind of to talk about why it's important to me and how it's affected my life and some of the hardships that I've kind of gone through and overcome growing up queer and in the South. So this is a little bit of what we're going to do today, and I hope you enjoy, and here we go. All right, so a little bit on Pride. What is Pride? So Pride is a time that's celebrated in June, but really, I mean, for those of us in the community, it's kind of an all-time, everyday kind of thing. But we take a little bit of time out of the year to acknowledge the achievements and the input and the things that the LGBTQ community has done and overcome in the last 50 plus years. So for me, what is Pride for me? It's a time for visibility. It's a time for celebrating identities. It's a time for remembering those that have come before us and that fought for us to have the ability to be who we are and celebrate who we are and be our open, authentic selves. It's a time for us to come together as a community. It's just a time to celebrate being human, being together as one. It's also a really good time to acknowledge self-acceptance. That's a big thing for me that I have recently gone through, just in regards to my personal life. Okay, so I guess I want to share a little bit on my personal coming out story. I know that there are a lot of people out there that also did not have an easy time with that. Me personally, coming out was not at all how I had pictured it. You always think about things that you want to say, or ways that you can kind of segue into the "oh, hey, by the way" conversation. But unfortunately, I did not get that luxury. I grew up in a really small town in the South, very, very religious, very conservative, and it made it a lot harder to be open about who I was and the things that I was going through. From a very young age, church was a huge part of my life. We went every Sunday, every Wednesday. We were there. All these different Bible studies and Sunday school and vacation Bible school. Like, we were always there, and that was just kind of the environment that I was in at the time. And a lot of the people that I hung out with were constantly going to church and stuff too. That was just the norm. But I knew from a really young age that I was different. I knew that I was attracted to the same sex. I knew that there were parts of me that were very much against everything that I'd been told at church, about gay people. There was a time back in high school where it kind of all hit a boiling point. I had, read through different Bible verses and things, and I had done all these different studies and stuff just through various like youth groups and things. So I was pretty aware of like what people had told me as far as like what was okay and what was not. But I was really, really struggling to accept myself for who I was, because I knew that I was gay, and I knew that was going to cause a lot of tension in not just my social groups, but in my family, and it was really difficult to battle that. And that was a lot to handle at like 15 years old. So there was at one point where I finally kind of had a breakdown, and I was going to this kind of new church and orienting myself with people, and I felt like it was a good space. I felt like I was pretty safe to just kind of talk about whatever. So one night I finally went to the youth pastor, and I told him what had been going on, that I was struggling with my sexuality. I was struggling to understand what exactly I was going through. I knew that I liked guys, and I knew that that was not okay in regards to like what the Bible had, taught me and the things that I had learned over the years. And, I spent hours as a kid, crying myself to sleep, trying to understand why I was like this. I prayed and prayed and prayed that God would fix me. I prayed and prayed that, maybe if I woke up as a woman one day, then I would at least be straight and it would be a little bit less weird. Just whatever I could do to find a way around this issue or this problem that I had. So I went to my youth pastor and I told him all these things. I was like, this is what I'm struggling with, and I don't know what to do about it. And he told me, well, you have a real problem here. And so he opened up his Bible and read all these verses about how being gay was a sin and sleeping with a man was against the Bible, and you would go to hell and be punished and all this stuff that I already knew, but that didn't help. And then he proceeded to tell me, well, you have one of two options. You can call your mother right now and we can sit and talk to her over the phone about what's going on, or I can come to your house sometime next week and we can sit down and chat. I was mortified. I had not even really planned to come out to my mom at that point because I just knew that wasn't a good idea. It wasn't necessarily for fear of being like kicked out or anything, but just that was like adding a whole lot of stress and such to my life that I just was not ready for. But I was unable to like verbally answer him because I really just genuinely did not know what to do. I'm pretty sure I had a panic attack in that moment. And so he finally was like, okay, well, I guess I'll be at your house next week and we can talk about it. And I left in tears, freaking out, wasn't sure exactly what to expect or what was going to happen. So that day comes, I get home after school and we sit in the den downstairs and we have a little chat, and he's just like, hey, so I want you to know that you and your son and I have talked, and there's some things going on that I think you need to be aware of, and I think he needs to tell you himself. And so he sat there and literally watched me as I broke down and attempted to mumble out the words, I'm gay, to my mother. It was one of the hardest and scariest and honestly worst moments of my life. I was legitimately not prepared. I didn't know what to expect after the fact. So I managed to mumble out the words, tears streaming down my face, what was going on. And as soon as I had gotten that out of the way and was a puddle on the couch, he proceeded to throw down all these pamphlets and say, all right, here's some really good conversion camps that he can go to. There's some therapists I think that he could talk to about this. He's just in this really crazy holy war right now with the devil, and we're not going to let him win. We're going to figure this out. I got you. We can do this. And I know my mom was overwhelmed at the time. She didn't really know what to make of it. And so, he prayed with her and me and asked God to fix this and, figure this out, blah, blah, blah. And I'm still in the chair, crying and not knowing what to do. And I think my mom was still very much not sure how to respond properly to all of it. And then he left, and we were just kind of sitting there in silence, and we didn't speak for like a solid week because I don't think she knew what to say, and I surely didn't know what to say. And honestly, for the longest time, we didn't talk about it. We just kind of moved on with life and didn't really acknowledge that had even really happened. The only thing that really came of it was she was super cautious about me hanging out with other guy friends, or, there was one other friend of mine that I had in high school that was out, and, she kind of forbade us from hanging out. Not that that was really possible. We had almost every class together, but hey, whatever. So that was that, and it was really rough. It was really tough to have to go through that at such a young age when I still really wasn't quite sure who exactly I was. So in conclusion, why do I tell you about this story? Part of it just to share my experience and the things that I've been through, not to make you feel bad for me or to take pity on me, but just to kind of bring awareness to some of the dark sides of how coming out can go. There may be many more people out there that are not in a good spot to come out yet. It may not just be that they're not ready. It may not be a safe environment for them. It may not be a great time for them to make that choice. I unfortunately did not get the choice to come out when I was ready, and I wish I would have been given that opportunity. So for those of you that are also still figuring out who you are and how you fit into this big world, come out when you're ready. If you have the ability to wait and really find the people that you feel safe around, wait it out. It's really hard to come out. It's really hard to go through that not knowing what's going to happen on the other side. But what I can say is that it does get better. You will eventually be in a better place. You will eventually find your tribe and find those that vibe with you and that support you and that love you unconditionally. And to those that you come out to and aren't super cool with it at first, people do change, and people do grow, and they understand and they learn over time. It may not be tomorrow, but eventually things will get better. As you continue to celebrate and enjoy Pride this month, do it for the ones that came before us, that started this whole shebang. Do it for those that are coming after us, those that are still trying to figure out how they fit into the world and how they fit into our beautiful rainbow. Do it for everybody that is in it now. All of us that are still evolving and figuring out who we are and trying to just be our authentic selves in the world. Use those pronouns. Wear the colors. Dress how you want. Whatever makes you feel good, whatever makes you feel right and comfortable with who you are, do what you need to do. Just know that whenever you do come out or whenever you find your space, you've got a big, big community here with open arms ready to accept you and love you and celebrate who you are in all the ways that you can imagine. So continue to celebrate, continue to be safe, do what feels good and best to you. We love you, we support you, and happy Pride.